What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to 30 Days of Traps with Tenebris. Today I've got a pretty special trap for you dudes. It's the follow-up to my Thor's Hammer trap, and this trap is what I'm going to call the ZEUS's Lightning Bolt trap. So this trap requires a little bit of setup to it, so let's get into how you set this trap up, and then we'll have a quick kind of demonstration of the power and capability of this trap. For this trap is actually really simple. All you need are two supplies, just some compressed air tanks and some EMPs of whatever sort. If you want to use car batteries because that's more to your fancy, you can totally use car batteries. I myself find large EMPs a little bit easier to farm just because of my engineer build. But let's get into the layout of this trap. It's quite easy to set up. All you need to do is put down two of the compressed air tanks, and then you make a bit of a triangle out of it, and then you lead that triangle down at an angle. And then all you got to do is kind of outline this triangle with the large EMPs. And there you go. That's all you need for the trap. And this trap is incredibly effective because it does a really solid amount of damage, gives you a smoke screen, and gives you a huge radius for the EMP effect. So let's go off, show off an example of this thing in action, and then just kind of wrap up the video. So I was kind of setting this trap up really slow here, but you can set up this trap actually really quickly if you follow what I did in the first place, where you make the kind of skeleton of the trap out of the compressed air canisters in the first place, as opposed to jumping in with the EMP cells. But I got a little bit interrupted by some runners here. I had a group of hunters that I was targeting with this trap. So after a little bit of cleanup, I'm able to pull off the trap against the hunters and demonstrate how decent this trap actually is. This, in its own way, is like a more damage-dealing version of the Thor's Hammer, but the only downside to it is that you do wind up setting off all the EMPs in one go. The benefit to this trap, though, is that the EMP effect radius for this is absolutely massive, and is quite efficient for deactivating any machines that you manage to catch in this trap. So sometimes the lure doesn't work quite as well as you would like it to, and in situations like that, I advise just kind of shooting off a couple warning shots to try to draw in the enemies into the location. It's always much easier if your lure does go off perfectly, because then you'll be able to get all the enemies into the designated area in one kind of fell swoop. But with this, all it requires is a little bit of patience and a little bit of strategy to it in order to actually set up the whole situation. Now, this one hunter was giving me a really hard time here, just kind of showering me with his flechette rounds. But after a little bit of work and a little bit of dodging, I managed to rope all of the hunters into this trap. So, as you guys could see, the setup for that trap was very effective, and outside of the one kind of hunter giving me a really hard time, it was very effective for deactivating them, and even wound up taking out one of them that managed to stumble right into the middle of the trap. So, with that kind of out of the way, hopefully you guys enjoyed this follow-up to Thor's hammer. And I really appreciate you guys watching this little series that I've been putting together here. So thank you so much. I've been Tenebris. You've been awesome. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Till then, peace.